clients that have already booked for this training now, they've been in interviews and all that. We've worked on their CVs, but when they've been interviewing, some of them will be like, oh, some of the feedbacks they get is that, oh, you really did well, but you do not have UK experience. So in order to, because our own objective is for you to get that job at the end. So whatever it is we need to put in the trip, because we don't just want to train you, give you certificates and that's it. We want to share your success stories. We want you to land those jobs. We want to be part of your success story as well. So that is why we have gone ahead to be, to add this to the current package. So you'll be able to put us on your CV as a job experience for the period of the training. And yeah, so you also be getting a certificate of completion. Although certificates, certificates are not as, what would I say, they are not as pronounced, or they are also equally relevant. Skills and knowledge, as well as how you're able to demonstrate this at interviews, comes before certificates. However, it's good to also have certifications for whatever training that you go through. So you'll be getting a certificate of completion at the end of this training. And like I said, there'll be real life scenarios as well, as we move along in the training. So one of the questions that we got, when we were promoting this training is, usually also before we launch a training, we do our own research into the training because we know what our clients need. We know what is important to them. And that's one of this is, what's the eligibility of this role for visa sponsorship? I know a couple of people, who actually got sponsorship already in this field. They are compliance professionals and, they are on actual skilled worker visa. So what is the eligibility of, getting sponsorship in this field? And as we can see, it's on the skilled worker eligible occupation list. As we can see the screenshots here, you can also go to check for yourself. So the titles does not have to be these exact titles, but that is to let you know that roles within the compliance field as well can sponsor you if the company is also willing to sponsor. So good news. This is one of our latest good news. We haven't even shared it on any of our platforms. You are the first set of people who will be getting to know this. And the news is that we are a CPD member and a CPD provider. What is CPD? CPD is Continuous Professional Development, and it's a UK, this is CPD UK. It's a UK's accreditation body, that accredits training providers and other in other fields as well, not only trainings. So they could accredit you as a company, they could accredit you in other areas. But as a training institute, we are CPD, we're a CPD member and CPD accredited. And what does this mean for you? That means that you can be confident that the certificate you'll be getting in this training, which would have CPD, on it as well, is an internationally accredited and recognized certification. So CPD is also something that within the UK and globally, right? Because CPD is not a UK thing, it's not a UK thing only. Globally, individuals have CPD requirements either in their professional function. I think some companies have about the number of CPD training or courses you have to take in a year. So only trainings that fall under the CPD, forms parts, or only trainings that are accredited by CPD forms parts of your continuous professional development. Some companies even pay for trainings that fall under this on behalf of their staff because it's a development requirement, right? So for you as an individual, the benefit to you is that the certification you'll be getting is accredited globally in the UK as well as globally. And then you get confidence that the training contents and the standard of the training is global because all our training contents will be assessed and approved by this body. So that gives you confidence that, not only are we didn't just start start training without having any form of accreditation or without actually ensuring that what we are doing is up to standard, So This also forms part of your continuous professional development requirements, just like I said earlier. And this demonstrates to recruiters and employers that you are committed to the profession. So if you have gone ahead to, do a CPD accredited certification, because in the UK, one thing that a lot of people don't understand is that the UK does not actually value jack of all trade kind of thing. I mean, coming from wherever, maybe Nigeria, Ghana, or wherever we're coming from, if you have on your CV that, yeah, I can do HR, I can do finance, I can do, I can do lots of things, that would probably make an employer very happy because, what they want is someone that can do everything. However, in the UK, it's quite different. They want to see on your CV that you actually are committed to this field. You won't get this job today and tomorrow you are into another field, So that's why, as on our consulting and rebranding side, we advise our clients that, you need to have an optimized CV for a particular role to be able to demonstrate that you are committed to this field. That would send a positive signal to a recruiter, to go ahead to probably invite you for an interview, or go ahead to take you on for the role. So going ahead to do a CPD accredited training demonstrates to recruiters that you're actually committed to this profession. And of course, it's an extra value for your money because, a CPD accredited certificate is even for we as a company that is getting this accreditation, it doesn't come cheap. So even for you, you are getting extra value for your money because CPD accredited trainings are not cheap out there. And you are the first set of, delegates, who would be launching this accreditation that we have just gotten. So moving on from there. So more about the training. What is the actual value of this training? Because I'm sure, you've heard a lot of things. Okay, so how much is this training for those who have not heard or who, have joining or hearing about this for the first time? So first of all, I'll be talking about the value because I always come from a value point of view. Based on all the things I've said that you'll be getting in this training and how it's different from what you would get in the market, the value of this training in the market is over £1,000. I've been told of severally by a lot of people that I'm actually offering this training too cheap. I wish to be cheap, but I have my reasons, and that's because impact comes to me first, before other things, So because I want to make an impact, because I'm trying to help people navigate the UK job market, is the reason why I've made it, a lot affordable, right? Because if you look at, even I know people who offer just KYC training, or KYC AML training for £550, £700. Just that, no certificates of completion, no LMS, no other investments, no projects, no UK job reference, So, if you are joining this, but I can't promise that the next cohort will get it at this price. But if you are going to be joining this cohort, I'm telling you that you are getting like 3 times the value of what you'll be paying for the training. So the discounted price we are offering for the training is £550, 450k in Naira for those that will be paying in Naira. However, because you're attending this tester session, I'll be extending a further flash discounts for those who pay today for this training. And that's, so in pounds, it's if you pay today, you pay 490, you pay 490 pounds. Sorry, that's a mistake. So if in pounds, instead of paying £550, if you pay today, you pay 490 pounds. And if you're paying in Naira, instead of paying 450k, you pay 400k. The payment link will be shared on the chat box now, so you can go ahead to explore, making the payments and enjoying these discounts that is open only today. So how long will the training be? I've already said that it will be a 4 weeks class. To be 4 weeks classes. However, within the 4 weeks as well, we try to, fix a time for interview preparation. Also, there are other benefits that you actually get for being a part of this boot camp, really, that is even beyond the training. You get to join we have a previous cohort who have just graduated, we have just graduated. You get to join the alumni group after the completion of your training as well. And some of them are already industry, some of them are already in the industry. A lot of them are at their interview stages, a lot of them at their interview stages. So we get to benefit from each other, mentor each other, for further developments and progression. And and there are so many other things that we actually have to offer as a company. I'm sure that, I mean, I can't promise exactly when. I'm sure there will be a time where we'll have visa sponsorship strategies, another session for visa sponsorship strategies, which I know a lot of people are interested in. Being an alumni of our training, you would get to attend these sessions for free. And because I'm all about everything you need, to understand the UK job markets to actually achieve your long-term, because I know we all have long-term goals. We might be looking here and there, but we all have reasons why we are trying to explore different alternatives. So there are so many benefits, that you tend to gain from joining this boot camp. So some feedback from our last cohorts. A lot of them found the training really helpful. One of them already landed a job as a compliance manager in the UK, and some of them, a lot of them are at the interview prep. We ended it just at the end of December. Some of them are already at the final stages of interview with Deloitte, EY, and the likes, So this is just to let you see what other people who have just graduated, what they feel about the training. So, having said all this, do we have anybody who has a question? Does anybody have a question for me before I introduce our facilitator? Does anybody have a question of anything I've said so far? I've not been talking to myself so far. Can you all hear me? If you can hear me, can you drop a message in the chat box?
I can hear you, ma.
We can hear you. Can I just ask something, please?
Go ahead. Please go ahead.
So you've said you're giving us a discount. Can you hear me?
I can hear you clearly.
Okay. You said you're giving us a discount if we pay today, obviously, but the training doesn't start till the end of the month. Is it not possible to maybe extend that, making the payment today, because obviously the training doesn't start it. So if you can extend, make the deadline for that payment rather than just saying we should pay today.
Well, because some people. I'm not saying you should pay today. I'm just saying if you pay today, we'll get an extra discount, right? So, but if you don't pay today, you can still get a discount, but it might not be the same discount. However, any discussions about discounts, extensions, to be honest, I'm happy to take that. You can send me a DM. There's actually room for that, because I totally understand that. There's some people that are already on an installment plan.
It's January.
Much earlier. Some people are already on an installment plan. They started much earlier. However, all installments ends in January, by January ending. So whatever it is but we can take that, outside of this place. However, if you pay today, you get, and if you want to secure your slots for this discount as well, it's very possible. But we can take that in the DM, in our email, or in other, outside. We can take that in camera. Is that fine?
Okay, thank you.
Cool. I believe I think that might have answered some other questions as well. Well, someone else is pleading for installment payments. Okay. Okay, so I think, does the training include CV review? No, this training does not include CV review. You can see that we have a lot of things already packed up in the training. However, because you'll be putting us on your CV, right? And because we offer that, in-house as well, there's possibility to get a discount, to get your CV and LinkedIn done by us at the end of the training. But at the moment, it doesn't include CV, because there are so many other things packed in the training. And if we add CV to it as well, the cost continues to go up. So let's just keep it as it is, but there's obviously going to be a discount for those that want to get their CV done by us, of course, to get the results, because you already know we are experts as well in CV, LinkedIn, cover letters, and all that as well. Does that answer your question, Patience? Okay, thank you, thank you. I think we can go back to introducing our very honorable, okay, thank you, Patience, for the feedback. So let me introduce our trainer. I'm sure you're all eager to see who is going to be training us. So our trainer is Olumide Otolorin. So Olumide is a UK qualified solicitor and a compliance professional with over 12 years UK experience, holding top positions in renowned UK firms, as you can see on the screen, like JP Morgan Chase, BNP Paribas, as well as a lot of, we can't list them all. We can see that he has a very big profile. So listing all the big companies he has worked will take us 2 pages. So yes, he has an MBA, he has an MSc, he has an LLM. He's a chartered governance professional, is a governance professional and company secretary, formerly ICSA. So to be honest, I'm really happy to have him on board as the facilitator for this training, and I'm sure that you guys can't wait, to experience the wonderful expertise he also has. He's got a very wide range of exposure. He's a compliance expert, he's a KYC expert, he's an AML expert, MiFID, financial crime, fraud, transaction monitoring, business analysis, project management. You'll be surprised how you can even blend your previous area of expertise with this AML to actually form a very strong brand for yourself. Just like you, it was also Nigeria. It was also Nigerian trained as a lawyer as well before moving to the UK. So I'm sure that, having seen that he also started just like you and is where he is today, I'm sure you are eager to learn, how he got to where he is, so that you can also probably follow his footsteps or his guidance or his training, and learn from him to also achieve the same feat. So I'll be handing over at this point to Olumide. Olumide, are you ready for us? As we were in a classroom, I would have said, can we give our facilitator a round of applause? But we cannot give a round of applause. Can't give a round of applause, a virtual round of applause. But yes, we can't wait to, to hear you. So yes, Olumide, please take up the floor. We are happy to have you.
Yeah, thank you, Rukayat, for the kind words and for the introduction. I'm also very happy to be with you guys today. And we're going to discuss how we can help each other and also give you my own experience of how I got to this position, and just to explain that it's very possible. Nothing is impossible. I'm glad that you guys have taken an interest in my own space, and we'll start the discussion now. So just to give you guys some comfort, I can give you a small story of how my own journey started, my own JAPA experience and everything. So, well, I qualified as a solicitor in Nigeria. I went to UI. I did my master's in UI. I did my NYS in Kano. And I just said, let me go and do an MBA in Grenoble in France. And they had a branch in London. I said, let me do an MBA in London and return back to practice law in Nigeria. So when I got here, I said, okay, everything is working here. There is NEPA, there is this, everything is working, and I started thinking, okay, what can I do to stay here and have a permanent residency, and also something that will make sense. So I finished my MBA, but, my first job was, it wasn't easy. So I'm just giving you this story so that you get the truth, because a lot of people tell all sorts of stories up and down, but I like to tell you my own story. So my first job was as a customer service in one of the largest shops in Europe, which is Primark. And, I was surprised because, I was working as a solicitor, barrister in Nigeria. And it was like falling from from grace to grass, and my first job was working in the shops, and that was really almost depressing for me because with all the skills I have, all the knowledge, all the qualifications, and I ended up earning peanuts and all that. It was very difficult. And why I'm saying this is that it depends on the first kind of contacts you make in the UK and the kind of information you are privy to in the UK. So if you decide that you limit yourself, then you're going to end up with all those small jobs and everything. And so I ended up with all those little jobs, working as customer service, doing all sorts and everything. And then I met someone who told me, oh, there is hope, let's start studying compliance, KYC, and all those things. I qualified as a UK solicitor here, and they were just paying me peanuts. What I was earning working in Primark was more than what I was earning working as a solicitor. It wasn't making sense because it's very hard for you to break into the magic circle firms. It's very difficult because they just look at your degree. Where are you coming from? Nigeria, this, what have you studied? Who has trained you and all that? So it was quite difficult. And then from then, I now said, okay, I'll start focusing on compliance and KYC, which was not too difficult. Okay. And then I got my first role in Lloyd's. And then from there, I moved to Credit Suisse, JP Morgan. I started working as a contractor. I've worked in so many places. And I'll say that nothing is impossible. You just have to believe in yourself, Nobody is going to come and save you from whatever situation you find yourself. A lot of people have jackpot. They are stuck. They are looking for ways to break into the market. And I'm not going to lie to you. It's not going to be easy. So it will never be easy. But you give yourself a better opportunity if you get well-trained, well-versed in what you're about to do. You get the technical skills you need to perform as a KYC, AML analyst. And that will make it easier for you. So that's how I ended up here. And I also started training people in the banks and everything. And I got used to it. I got comfortable with it. Initially, I used to be very quiet. I didn't like talking and everything. But after some time, it became part of me. I started training people. People started getting jobs and all that. And with the kind of wonderful organization that Rukayat has, I believe definitely you get a lot of value for your money. And you also get to learn and experience what it's like to actually work as a KYC AML analyst or a compliance analyst. So that's how my story started. And I said, how can we help people? I don't want anybody to go through what I went through to start working as a customer service, low job in the shops and everything when most of you are from the banking, you've already had 15 experience in banking. Some of you are lawyers and all that. And I understand exactly what it takes. I think I can relate to that. I understand what most of you have gone through. And I understand what you're trying to achieve and how you need to achieve it. I think I'll be able to guide you through what you need to know and how you need to do it. So, yeah, that's my own story. Some of the qualifications I've done, yeah, it does help, but in this environment, what they focus on is experience. Can you do the job? If they put a computer in front of you right now for your interview, can you do KYC? Can you do AML? So this package is really just to show you that you need to know exactly what to do from day one, or else you get sacked, even if you get a KYC job. The difference between this training and the other ones is that they'll take 900, they'll take 1,500, they'll take 500, they'll take all your money, but they are not going to give you the practical experience, And that's why I've noticed that if you don't have the practical experience, they give you theory, they give you all these books, links and all that. It's not going to help you. You need to be able to get into the job, roll up your sleeves and perform. This place is difficult, because you have to hit your targets. And if you don't hit your target, you probably won't keep your job. So I'm just happy to share my own experience in banking, some of the politics I've seen in banking, some of the challenges and everything. And it's going to be a very interesting journey for both of us, for me to be able to tell you and answer all your questions on what I have seen and what I believe is going to make you guys succeed as AML KYC analysts. Now, Rukayat mentioned one thing. This industry is never going to die. I'm sure you all have bank accounts, okay? The bank needs people to maintain that relationship and to open those bank accounts. And that's why you're here today, because KYC is very important in this country. It's also important in Nigeria, and I know. So over here, you just have to comply with all the laws or you get into trouble. So the banks have to comply and they have to have an AML system, okay? So KYC is a tool of AML that's to prevent financial crime and to make sure that illicit funds are not getting into the system. So just think of it. You have a bank account, right? Somebody on the other side is asking you questions. This is now your turn to be asking the customers questions and to make sure you protect the bank. So these are simple things that you just have to do, because you have to comply, or else the regulators will jump in. They might stop the bank from operating. They might seize the license. Someone might even go to jail. So you just have to make sure that you do the right thing. This is a very serious environment. I won't say Nigeria is not serious, but I'll say things are a little bit very serious here. Everyone has to do their work diligently, or you get into trouble. And obviously, as a black person, you have to do a lot more than your peers. So you have to perform. Yeah. So let me just jump into it. So KYC is just the process whereby you verify and you understand what the customer is about. I'm sure the lawyers and the bankers in the house and all other people will understand where I'm coming from. These are the things they'll be asking you to do. You have a checklist, and you just have to make sure that the bank, your customers, you are the bridge between the relationship manager and the bank. So the relationship managers are the guys that go and get the customers, right? And they try to sell the products and everything. You are like the policeman in the bank, making sure that they comply with the rules and regulations and the policies of the bank. That is how easy KYC is. Now, it might sound easy, but at the same time, there are things we call red flags, which you have to be privy to. You have to understand the environment. How do these guys, the bad guys, operate? What are the things that they might do? You might need to know some things. Okay, where do you get the information from? Okay, you also have to think of it. You are trying to give the customer the best experience. Okay, so if you can get information about a customer from somewhere without going to meet the customer 100 times, that would make you a better compliance professional, because it's not just about compliance. You also have to think of how you're going to help the bank to make money, okay? And you're also protecting the bank. That's the bottom line. So you have to have some business acumen, and you also have to be someone who is project driven. It's a fast-paced environment. Laws are changing every day. As you can see in Ukraine, things have moved very fast. The SDN list continues increasing, SSIs, sanctions, and all these things are there. So if you don't know these things, you yourself, you'll be a risk to the bank, and you're going to put someone in trouble. Let's just say you go and open a bank account for Putin or his family or something and all that without following the right procedures. So it's something that you need that knowledge to be able to protect the bank and also to be able to protect yourself and your career. Because once you have one mistake, that is the end of it. Nobody wants to end up in Primark working for 10, 20 years. Even if you are there for 10, 20 years, what you will earn is not what maybe a junior person in KYC would earn. There are some junior roles in KYC, but the average of the roles pay a lot. And it just depends where you are. The American banks pay the most. The European banks pay well. And then all the other banks follow. So what I would say is that with my own experience, I'll be pushing you towards the direction of having a KYC analysis experience and the knowledge almost thinking like a detective, like a lawyer. So I want everyone to think like a detective, to be able to pick up new skills. Nobody's going to come and save you. As I said earlier on, you have to learn the stuff. There are so many things you have to pick up on, and these things change day by day. You need to understand what we call the GMLSG, which is the industry guidance. You need to understand the FATF. FATF is the Financial Action Task Force, and they are the ones that publish the 40 recommendations, which all banks, countries have to comply with. And of course, if you think of it, section recommendation 10 talks about CDD, which everybody has to do. And it talks about the instances where you have to perform CDD. Okay, so you need to know that. If you have a PEP, I'm sure most of us understand what a PEP is. We're all tired of them. I'm sure that's why most of us want to jackpot bad governance and everything. They take our money, hide it abroad and all that, tax havens and all those funny things. So I'm sure because of where we are coming from, we already understand, it gives us an advantage. So most Nigerians perform better than all other countries when it comes to compliance. Most of the banks are very eager to work with Nigerians because they know they have an understanding. Nigerians are very hardworking. So when you have a PEP relationship, there are things you have to also do. Like you just have to make sure you comply with FATF's recommendation 12. We just list what the PEP needs to do. Like you need to get senior management approval, you need to identify source of wealth and all those other things. So basically this training is supposed to give you an edge above any training out there. And our own aim is to make sure that we destroy the market for everyone else, because we are just going to give you what everyone else cannot give you. I've complained to Rukaya that the training is really too cheap compared to all the other ones. But, we are trying to help because the money is not really a lot, to be honest, because think about it. We're not giving you theory, printing out the law, printing out procedures and everything for you. We are showing you how to do KYC, which I've done, over the last few decades, and showing you how to do it in your role as a KYC AML expert. And as I said again, every bank needs professionals that will help them to onboard, remediate, and refresh their clients. So, when you are a KYC analyst, you either end up, most of the permanent jobs are in onboarding, okay? So you might be onboarding new clients. That's what onboarding is, when you have new clients coming into the bank and everything, where you ask them questions, what are you coming to do? And you also need to identify and to know your customers, okay? And at that stage of the onboarding, what you'll be asking them is, you'll be asking them all sorts of questions. It's highly pressurized. You ask them a lot more questions than the other sectors. So you want to know who the owners of the business are, who the controllers of the business are. Simple questions like, where did you get your money from? What sort of documents do you need to see for them to be able to prove that and everything? And you also need to understand, you need to do some background screening. You need to check if they're on the sanctions list. Are they SSIs? Are they SDNs? You also need to check, do they have any adverse news? Are they hiding anything? Like now, if you just pop in, I don't know, Ibori's name into the screening machine, it's going to tell you stuff straight away. It's going to tell you this guy has been in jail, this is this and that and all that. So yeah, you just need to be able to understand those things. And that's how you package a customer for the bank. Okay, you find out, you do your gap analysis, you find out what's missing, and then you're going to ask the relationship manager to get the information for you. Now that's onboarding, very similar to the other two sectors. And now I'm going to talk about remediation. Remediation is when you have to fix something or there's an upgrade to a process. And you see, when the regulators come in, which I'm sure most of the people in banking understand, when regulators come in, they look at your processes and they say, oh, you've not properly asked for source of wealth, the way you've treated your PEP, you've not complied with recommendation 12 of the FATF, and all that, the GMLSG and all those. And then I just say, okay, roll out a project and remediate the whole 300,000 clients you have in this bank, okay? That's when they now go out and start hiring KYC analysts, AML analysts, and tell them to come and remediate their cases. Now, they are not going to train anybody when they recruit. most of the time they won't train you unless you're in a very small company and all that. So the KPMG might say, okay, let's go and get 2,000 people, 500 people, 200 in London, 300 in Edinburgh, 400 in Croydon and all that. And they'll say, okay, let's start working. You have to do 2 cases a day. This is what you have to do. So there's a lot of work there. You now have to fix the process that has already been seen as a bad process by the regulators or by anybody. Okay, so that's remediation. And then there are a lot of projects in remediation. They do pay well. Some pay between 300 to 500 depending on your level of skill. Your level of skill also depends on how marketable you are. You get, if I'm talking to you at the interview, I'm asking you questions, you are smashing all the questions I'm asking you, you are impressing me, then you can also negotiate. You know, it's not just you accepting anything they put to you. So those are the sort of tricks and things we have to learn also, how to negotiate your pay, how to add value to a project, how to impress whoever is interviewing you, how to, you know, smash everything they're asking you and everything. Because when I train people, I expect them to go in there, they will almost be sounding like like a lawyer, you know, like you're quoting recommendation 10, recommendation 12, you're quoting different sections here and there. You're quoting the Anti-Money Laundering Act, Sanctions Act, Fraud Act, this one, ABC and all that. So that's something that I can tell you that people that have even been in the industry for 5-10 years, they don't even know. Everybody is busy. They are carrying children. I'm not blaming them. They are busy. Me too, I'm also busy. But I can tell you that I don't sleep for more than 4 hours a day. And that's the path I've chosen. I just want to be the best at everything I'm doing. And even just for this taster, I've even read up a few things that, okay, let me just make sure, you know, anybody that wants to ask me questions is going to ask me stuff and, you know, I'm ready. So, yeah. And also, the other part I want to talk about is refresh. I've spoken about onboarding, new clients, remediation, when you have something that has messed up and you need to fix it. Regulators have said you should improve your AML processes and architecture. And also, the last one is refresh, ongoing monitoring. So that's why we always need KYC analysts, AML analysts. Unlike the other sectors, they can go and sack all the traders and everything, but they can't sack the AML analysts, because if you don't do KYC AML, the regulators will simply seize your license, stop you from trading. Banks don't want that. Banks are there to make money. So they need people that will make sure they comply so that they can keep their license, make money, satisfy the shareholders, and that's it. So that's why it's a sector that can never die, okay? Nobody's going to put money in the bank and you think somebody is not going to look at it. That's not possible. If you receive 50 million into your account today, somebody in Nigeria is going to call you and ask you, my friend, what's going on? You understand? It's the same thing here. So your services will always be needed, okay? It's just that now, when you get into that industry, you also have to make sure that you're one of the best so that you can rise, okay? So you don't get stuck. Just get ready for it. It's going to be very busy. You always have to read. You always have to be on points and everything. And it's something you can do. So I have faith that you guys will be able to do it. You'll be serious and all that. So I believe we're going to have a good session. I don't want to talk too much about KYC. It might start getting boring. But when we start it, you see how interesting it is. When we start dealing with the granular details, then you see that, oh, KYC is very interesting. And there are different streams. You have sanctions, analysts, you have AML analysts, you have KYC analysts, you have GDPR analysts and everything. And that's just one variant, okay? Now, if you think of it, you also have business analysts, you have project managers, okay? When you have project managers, they are managing a team. So you're an IT person, you can be a project manager, you can be a data analyst, you can be a KYC, AML, business analyst, okay? And you are still going to bring out your knowledge, your understanding of KYC, AML, and all those subjects. You just have to change the mindset. Okay, I'm now a business analyst or data analyst. What do I need to do? Okay, but your understanding of this course will help you to determine, okay, where do I want to be? Okay, I'm a banker. I'm always designing AML programs. writing AML programs and everything. Okay, good. That's good. Policy writer. Oh, I'm very good in IT. I'm able to design UX, UI, UI designs and everything. I'm able to do prototyping, wireframing, and all that. But if you understand AML, KYC, that will also help you. So it just depends. I would say working in the banking sector has been more lucrative for me than any other sector that I've seen. You get, it's very hard to break into the legal sector. So, you know, I tried it. I did all the conversion exams and everything, but what they were paying me was peanuts, and I wasn't ready. I had a family, and I had to take care of them. And what they were paying me was not going to do anything. So that's why I ended up in banking. And yeah, I think it's where I hope you all end up and, you know, settle down and grow your career. And hopefully one day you also be trainers like me. You'll be able to easily relate what you've learned back to people and also help people to get into the industry, because Nigerians are very intelligent people. You know, forget about the bad ones that are doing all sorts of things and everything. But the good ones, the serious ones, are very, very intelligent, very, very intelligent. We already have a good advantage. Number one, we speak good English. English is our native language, I guess. We are exposed to a lot of financial crime. We're all tired. We understand. We hear this thing in the news every day. So a Nigerian is not new to corruption or hearing this is corruption and all that. One of the challenges is trying to unlearn what we've learned in Nigeria. And you see that everything, you know, almost everything works here. You know, you have whistleblowing procedures. If you want to report to the NCA, there are whistleblowing lines. You can report anybody to the NCA. You can report your boss to the NCA that, look, your boss is collecting some green envelopes under the table. You don't understand what's going on. They're allowing this person to do this, and that's normal here. You know, you're just meant to do your job and follow the law. Everything is, you know, there for you to follow. So to be honest, I'm happy you guys are here, and I'm sure we're going to have a great time. I don't know if anyone has any questions, and then, you know, we could focus on some of the questions you have.
Thank you very much. I mean, can I go and start applying for KYC jobs? Because it looks like I'm set already. But yeah, thank you so much for the insights, you know, and for the good things you said about you know, you said we are exposed. There's some things you said there. You said we are exposed, you know, it's not only Nigerians that are here. You said we're exposed to all these things, so we are more experienced. Well, thank you for that. Okay, I think we have some questions that they've already dropped in the comment section, you know. So they said, are there remote jobs or strictly office? Oh, one good thing, I don't think I mentioned it, is that one good thing I like about this industry, right? Three things, or is it two or three things? First of all, the work mode is really flexible. You know, most of my friends that I have, you know, that KYC analysts, they're all on fully remote work structure. There are some hybrids as well, maybe, but I know a lot of fully remote structure, fully remote people. And let me even now add one to it. Some people are even able to take multiple contracts. I have friends that hold 3 KYC jobs, you know, have one permanent, have 2 contracts. Depends on whether you can handle it, right? It depends on if you can handle it, why not? But I mean, or what do you think, Olumide?
Yes, you are very correct. I've not been to Canary Wharf in 3 years. You know, I've been working from home for the past 3 years because of COVID. You know what happened, and everyone was running away from the office and everything. So there are lovely remote jobs. Oh God, that you can do 2 or 3 jobs. It depends on how strong you are. If you like money like me, you probably do more than one job. Yeah.
Okay, thank you for adding to that. Okay, someone said, is it only bankers who do KYC? Yeah, I think Olumide is more biased to banks because, but the thing is, I mean, this industry is not limited to banks. There are regulators in all the industries, and it's the same process, right? It's just that what the regulators are different. For instance, in the health and care industry, we have CQC, we have a couple of other regulators who regulates their activities, right? So there's, I mean, it's not limit. If you don't want to do a bank job, you still can be a compliance analyst. Or what do compliance analysts do, or what do compliance managers or officers do? Just ensure that the regulations we put out there, all companies have their MIS, management information system, where all the what you're supposed to comply with, all the regulations and the updates and all that are being saved, because they don't expect you. I mean, of course, it's on you have to continue to also read more about your industry, right? But still, companies have a process also to keep a system, of whatever the regulations they're supposed to monitor are, right? And it's the same. What you need to get is the framework. Then you can apply this framework in any other industry. However, because of, I mean, the financial system is highly regulated. I mean, when we think of level of regulation, I think maybe the financial system even comes before the health and care, or either of the two. Those two industries are highly regulated, and but you rarely see a compliance analyst, in a care home, But that's not to say that there are no compliance analysts there. However, um, compliance analysis, KYC, data protection is not limited to banks. There are lots of opportunities in the banking and financial industry, but it's not limited to. If you want to explore health and care, if you want to explore any other industry, they would provide you with the regulations that you are supposed to monitor, that you are supposed to ensure compliance to, right? And then you just have to apply the same framework to this, right? Am I correct, Olumide?
Oh, yes, you are correct, because KYC applies to anywhere where you have customers. And as you said, in a regulated industry, it's taken more seriously. So like now, let's say you get a job in Volkswagen, and they were giving financing anyway. So Volkswagen is giving financing and everything. You also have to protect Volkswagen also. So you have to do KYC. You are not just going to allow Volkswagen to be selling cars to terrorists and all that. So let's say you even work in M&S. They have M&S card now. They have M&S financial services. You want to work there, you need to know KYC. You need to know what a sanctioned person is, what a terrorist person is. So once you have anything that has to do with finance, you definitely need to know the highest level of KYC. And even if they don't have financing there, you also need to know KYC. Like now, even if you are in the HR department, you also need to scrutinize people. There is anti-bribery. You are working in an oil company. You have to protect the oil company too. It's not just anybody that they employ. They have to check who are you related to, who are you connected to, and all that. So it applies everywhere, and it also helps you to protect yourself if you understand KYC and AML before you end up doing something that UK government will now come and say, why are you moving monies up and down, and all that. Some people get involved in a lot of funny things, and when you start the course, you'll be amazed into how people have gotten into jail over their stupid or ignorant behavior. I'm not abusing anybody, but sometimes you think about it, somebody is paying you $1,000 and they want you to move 50 million or 100 million from Nigeria. You get, and the person is not thinking of, oh, this is the UK. They might just pick you up, and the next thing you just see police knocking on your door. So it will help you. I'm not just marketing it that, okay, come and do our keys and do a course here and everything. You understand? It will help you if you want, and yeah. You just have to comply with all the laws here.
Sure. So I think exactly as you have said, even in our personal life, because I think everybody has become BDC. Is it BDC? Already changed. Yeah. Everybody has become really change now. It's very important that we know who the other person is, who the other business we are transacting with, And if you look at the sanctions as well, like the sanctions aspect of this training, you'll be learning how to like check the sanctions list, to be sure that this company that want to enter business with, are they on the red list? Are they sanctioned? Are they from a sanctioned country? Are they high risk? Are they low? What risk rating, are they, or what should we be entering, as a compliance person, should we go ahead with this business, and all that. Yeah, so I think beyond the banking industry, compliance KYC is relevant. I know someone that works in a hotel and she's the KYC AML person in a hotel. So depending on the line of business and the risk that has been associated to, relationship and transactions between the two parties, there would be a need for due diligence, compliance, and all that. So the next question is this related to privacy analyst? So there'll be a part of this training that has to do with GDPR and data protection, right? And at the end of, that would give you an insight into going into data protection or GDPR. However, you have to know that all of these areas, you need to actually also put in the work to continue to, because this is a 1 month program, right? After this 1 month, laws will continue to change, rules will continue to, of course, there will be public knowledge. It's not like there will be hidden changes, right? So, but yes, privacy analyst or data protection officer or GDPR analyst or officer is also one of the areas that this training would cover, if that is what you have interest in. Okay, so someone said, I'm concerned about the classes. My present jobs run on a rota basis. I don't have control on days I'm working. How do I cope? Because it means I'll miss some classes. Fantastic. For people that have this kind of situation, right? First of all, the training is going to be weekends. If you don't have control over when exactly you work, the good thing is we have a very user-friendly LMS. Most of our old or last candidates who have completed our trainings, they testify to how user-friendly our LMS is. So it will be more like you log in, you have access to the materials. Even as we speak, as you start enrolling from when we resume next week, right, we'll create your profiles. All the materials are already uploaded. You get to start reading the materials. So we'll continue to upload the videos as they happen. So you can watch all the, any class you miss, you can revisit. Even after your classes, when you have interviews, you can go back to revisit the interview prep sessions, when you have an interview, and also other resources we get will be uploaded on the training. Also on the WhatsApp group, other resources we can find, pages on LinkedIn you should follow, jobs that we think that you might have a very good chance at getting, so those are the other resources that you'll be getting from the training. So if you will be missing a class, I wouldn't say enroll and not attend the class, but if you'll be missing a class, there's an LMS that is very organized and all that you can watch any missed class. So, and also the LMS is also going to be used for your projects. So you need to actually watch the videos anyway, because you need to pass the projects for us to be able to give you reference. So can I go ahead and get the KYC job after this training, or do I need to do any other qualification? Just like we have said, the focus is how you are able to demonstrate experience in the field, how you're able to demonstrate skill. Qualifications are good, don't get us wrong. We're not saying you should not do qualifications. Some people already have AGAM, some people have CAMS, some people have, however, they've still not been able to get a job despite having those certifications because they cannot demonstrate experience. It's just like having PMP in project management. Some people have PMP, some people have all these certifications, but at the end of the day, they find that when they get to an interview, they ask, can you give us a time, when you had a difficult stakeholder, or can you give us a time where you had a very high risk, or can you give us a time where you did KYC on an entity or a trust or something? That might not be I've not done CAMS, I've not done AGAMS, I've not done any other certifications, but I'm just saying that most of those certifications are just theory based, and what you will be getting in this training is practical. Forget it. You will get a certification from this training, which is CPD accredited as well, but forget certifications, right? What you need is your ability to demonstrate experience at an interview. First of all, you need a very good CV to get interview, right? Which we are able to give to you at the end of the training. It's not part of this package that you're paying for, but you can pay for it at the end of the training at a discount, right? You need to get, so what are the steps you need after the training? Work on your brand, your CV and your LinkedIn. Make sure that, it's attractive enough to get you into the door. And when you get into the door, we've also helped you to break a barrier by giving you practical cases that you'll be working on as a project, as well as giving you reference, that you put on your CV as well. So all this will get you in the door to get interviews. When you get the interviews, how do you scale it? We are also going to be giving you a practical interview session, a question and answer session, right? That would address some possible questions you can get at interviews. Of course, you need to do your own work as well. You need to do more work, like read up, depending on the industry you have this interview in, you need to probably read up more, right? However, I'm telling you that at the end of this training, because we've been very, what would I say, thoughtful in putting together everything we think you need to get into the door in this industry. So is it only focused on KYC? I'm more interested in AML and financial crime due to my current role. I'm looking to improve myself. Like we said, this is just a taster session. We cannot actually address all the parts of the trade. I mean, what the facilitator even planned to take today, I had to tell him that we need to cut it down. We need to keep this meeting as short as possible. Let's just take, just a brief. This is just a teaser to let you, give you insights into what other things you'll be getting in the training, or just a brief. The training is broken down into modules, each with different classes and topics. So KYC and AML is one part of it. Sanctions, financial crime, and GDPR is another part of it. So if you are interested in AML and financial crime, you are still in the right place. The training is going, there's no way you can even do KYC without getting to learn AML. They're kind of intertwined. And then there's also the financial crime and sanctions as well, which you would also be getting in the training. Okay, you said you joined late, so probably that was why you missed that. Also, would the training be sufficient without doing AML certifications? I think I answered questions about certifications. Certifications are fine. You can do your certifications, because even when you get a job, say you want to progress in your career path, I mean, you can see that our facilitator has all the certifications in this. I mean, you see LLB, CISA, I mean, ICSA and all that. That depends on how far you intend to go. I mean, based on, not everybody are chartered, not everybody have certifications, but yes, certifications are also good. But what you need to get in the door first is not the certifications that are what you need. What you need is the practical experience, and after that you can now start to develop yourself based on the area, because there are different areas to this as well. I mean, at the end you can decide that, I'm going into KYC, I'm going to AML, I want to do more about on this side. I want to be a business analyst in this side. Just like he said, you can be a project manager in a KYC project. Yeah, said that when there are remediation situation, they create projects. They create projects, right? That would have a project manager that will probably have a business analyst as well. So if that's why I said that there are so many things that you can even combine the skill you'll be getting in this training with, that's coming from that you have already, that would create a very strong brand for you. So I will allow the facilitator also contribute to that.
Oh yes, thanks, Rukayat. So yeah, someone mentioned financial crime, AML, definitely. So we're going to cover that because transaction monitoring is also very important. That's ongoing monitoring. So we'll definitely show you how to identify transactions that are suspicious, what you need to do, how to report it to the NCA via a SARS report and everything, because it's very important that you have that knowledge to identify the transactions, or else you yourself will get into trouble because you are not disclosing it to the police. So, ignorance of that is not a defense to that. You have to report all suspicious transactions. You have to be well trained, or else the bank will get into trouble. It's very strict here. So yeah, definitely we're going to cover transaction monitoring, AML, fraud, and anti-bribery and all those things. Thanks.
Okay, cool. So how about someone studying law? Well, if you are studying law, just like we've said, I mean, I think we've talked too much about just studying law, such that some people that are not even lawyers are now wondering, I'm not a lawyer, oh, are you sure this is the right this thing for me? For people studying law, you did not miss road. You are you are like in the right path. He has told you he's a UK, he got his qualifications to become a UK lawyer. However, at the end, which is why I tell a lot of people, it's expensive, it takes time, but at the end of the day, again, what are the prospects of what are your career prospects after you are done with this, after you become UK qualified lawyer? You know, how much can you put, or how much jobs are out there? How much can you possibly earn? I will let the Olumide answer that as well, because he has a personal experience, you know, as a Nigerian qualified, UK qualified lawyer who still decided to go into compliance, even despite all that.
Yeah, so thank you again. A very good question. I like that question. So we also have compliance lawyers, okay? We have EMLs lawyers, we have sanction lawyers working in-house. So if that's what you want to do, that's perfectly fine, but you still need to have the knowledge of AML. So because what they do in the law firms is they handle all those AML projects, all those AML prosecutions, defending AML people against you know, the government and all that. So definitely you need to understand it to be able to protect the firm and also to be able to, you know, give a proper defense for your client. So you need to have a strong understanding, and it's a very good place to break. It's a niche area where you have a lot of sanctions issues right now, you know, so it's a very good area to look at too.
Thank you, thank you. Okay, so another question, has anyone gotten a job after this training before now? So like we said, the last batch, which were the first batch, they just finished their class late December, because it was a December class as well, and it was 4 weeks just like this one. You know, they've just finished their classes in December. One of them has gotten a job as a risk and compliance manager. However, a lot of others are already at different stages of interview. I'm sure you can tell that the person that has gotten a job, they start to apply for the job. You know, we already worked on the person's CV and all that before the person now joined the training. And, you know, and we had a lot of people like that we already worked on their CV as before we launched the program, and then they joined the program. So it was like they already, so a lot of them are just at the stage of maybe referencing, after which we'll be sharing their success stories as well. So I mean, the last batch are just a few, like, I mean, there was the holidays and all that, because we ended it just in the last week before the holiday, and we decided to, like, okay, look at ways to improve this one, and then this would also be starting at the end of this month as well. Olumide, do you want to say something?
Okay, did somebody want to say something? I don't know. Okay,
yes,
so
I wanted to ask if this is the same Olumide Babalola.
No, it's not. So
okay, all right, thank you.
Yeah, so regarding getting a job, I won't say it's automatic. It's not easy. The only way you can make it easier for yourself is if you do everything that we say. You read your GMLSG, you read your slides, all the materials we provide you, you do your projects, you understand the thing, and you give yourself a good chance at the interview. You go to the interview, you smash all the questions they ask you. It's not as if they'll be asking you questions, they'll not be prompting you for answers. You go to the interview, you answer all the questions, you show them you have sanctions knowledge, you understand GDP, you understand AML, you understand KYC, and you know, you are competing. So it's not, I won't come and say it's easy. So if you know you are someone that can't read or can't hustle or can't do anything, please just, you know, forget it. Honestly, it's not easy. You want to earn a lot of money in the UK, you won't give you money easily. So you have to hustle, you have to read, you have to, if you do everything we've planned for you to do, we are workaholics here. We are going to push you to the edge. Make sure you are competent and make sure you get the right value. You can add value to any AML, KYC department. Then you definitely get your job easily. You'll be flying. The next thing you start your own training, you start training people and earning money too. So you just, you know, it's not automatic. But if you are ready, that you're going to supply, you're going to make sure that you give as much time as you can. Please, if you can do that, you get your job easily.
Okay, thank you for that. I mean, just like any career transition or any, even people that, even within the UK, if you want to change jobs, it's not like you just do one I mean, a lot of people do one interview and get jobs, right? But the thing is that one thing I would tell you about interview stages as well is that when you are in the job market and interviewing for jobs, you take each interview you get as a learning point as well. You know, one of the candidates I have in the last training session, you know, he was at each of his interview stages, he always, like, maybe different industries, right? Then they will come back and say they asked me, because it started much before the training, and then by the end of the training, it was like, oh, there's so many things that he had already interviewed for that they were asking him that we now covered in the training, right? That's oh,
Yeah.
that's but each of the interview stages were learning points, you know, that's were learning points, and you know, that would help his next interview. You know, I mean, there's no transition you have to apply yourself. Three people can attend the training. If you don't apply yourself, someone might get a job in the training already, right? Someone might get a job in the training, while some others will just be saying, oh, they didn't train us well. And I mean, it might not be that they didn't train you well, but probably you didn't apply yourself. You know, probably, I mean, you didn't, I don't know how to put it, but you need to apply yourself. You need to actually have your motivations right. Like, okay, this is the reason I'm doing this. Nobody's forcing me to do it. And you know, the sky is the limit. Okay. How does this training help those outside the UK to get a job in the UK? Well, the process of getting a job in the UK, right, is from outside, right, is not something I would say that is copy and paste. You know, first of all, you need to be in a field that has potential for sponsorship. You know, and another thing is you have to be extremely patient and consistent. It's highly competitive getting a job, even in health and care. There's so many health and care that, I mean, we know health and care is like, it seems like it's like water to get sponsorship or to get a job. But still, there's so many people within the UK that are looking for sponsorship jobs in this health and care and haven't gotten it. And they have original experience. When I say original, they are actually health care professionals and they haven't gotten the job, you know. So it's not something that anybody can guarantee that, oh, the training will give you the skills that you need to perform in this role. Getting sponsorship jobs from outside the UK is another ball game, which is dependent on a lot of things that we might not have control over. But one thing that we know you need to position yourself for getting jobs from outside the UK or even from within the UK is to have the right skills in the right in a field that has potential for sponsorship. Have a very good brand that represents you, you know, in terms of your CV and your LinkedIn and cover letters and all that, that represents you, you know, globally or wherever it is, from wherever you are, as well as then you putting in the work to continue to apply and apply. However, it depends on the company's willingness to offer sponsorship for the role, right? However, people within the UK, they usually have a upper hand, and the upper hand they have is that sometimes they have a couple of weeks, they have a couple of months. Sometimes some are on dependent visa, some are on post-study visa, some, you know, they are within the UK. So there are so many other alternatives that they have to get to get their foot in the, you know, to start working in a company that probably has a license. And as an internal person, the company decides to sponsor them because they're already with the company, or because they have some months left in their visa that they can use to prove, you know, to prove themselves as very good for the job. Because no company sponsoring people comes at the cost to companies as well, and no company just wants to sponsor someone that, you know, they are not sure would perform. So they always prefer people who have maybe post-study visa or have some months left on their student visa, or, you know, to actually prove themselves and work for a bit before they go ahead to sponsor. I'm sure if you already follow my page, you see a lot of visa sponsorship success stories there, right? They all did not come automatically. Of course, some of them got their sponsorship right with the job offer, but a lot of the others, it was upon probation. Upon some of them would give you upon probation. Some would say, and they do give them, some would give them a contract and tell them, after this contract expires, we would sponsor you. But don't forget, it's still performance based. if you are not contributing, or if you are not good at what you do, or if you don't do what you're supposed to do, they might decide not to sponsor as well. And some of them are upon, okay, when the visa you have with you expires, we would sponsor you. But that's the advantage that people that are already within the UK have over people that are outside the UK. And this has nothing to do with your field, either as a project manager, business analyst, healthcare professional, or even compliance professional. This, what I've just spoken about, has nothing to do with your field or about a training. This is just the way the market is when it comes to sponsorship. And I can tell you that for a fact, because when it comes to visa sponsorship, when it comes to navigating the UK job market, I can call myself an expert in that area. So, that is why I said that. Apart from, just doing this training, those are some other benefits that you get, because I've been doing this for over a year, supporting people to get visa sponsorship, supporting people to get jobs in the UK, even beyond compliance and in other fields as well. So I would allow Olumide to also speak to that. I think you wanted to say something.
Yeah, so regarding sponsorship, there are actually a lot of vacancies, and there are a lot of people, a lot of organizations sponsoring. For one, I know KPMG, PwC, all of them are sponsoring, because what's happened is that the EU has left the bloc, the European bloc, via Brexit. So there's a shortage of people to do all these jobs, but the competition is intense. So if you can get well trained, and if you know your stuff better than others, then definitely it'll be easier for them to sponsor you. As Rukayat has said, you just have to make sure you're ready at the right place at the right time with the right skills and jump into the market. Once you are well versed in KYC, AML, or whatever you want to do, trust me, they'll give you an opportunity. You don't need to be Dangote's cousin or anything here. You can be anything here without knowing anybody. Yeah.
I do not have a UK experience. Wouldn't that be an issue? And that's why we have said, I don't know when you joined the meeting, that you'll be working on projects that would make us confident enough for you to put us on your CV as your UK experience. So that would help you to break that barrier of not having UK experience. However, it's on you now to defend that experience that you have on your CV by demonstrating the skills at interview, to land the job. I don't know if I answered your question. How well is one able to manage their work-life balance as a KYC AML specialist? And when you say work-life balance, I think we spoke about, this work-life balance I just said reminds me of my previous job, where we always say, complain about work-life balance. But the good thing about working in the UK is that your work-life balance mostly is in your hands, in terms of, and especially in this industry, this KYC AML industry, there's so many contract jobs. There's so many, most of the jobs, to be honest, are actually work from home jobs, because you just get assigned cases. You get assigned cases, you work on your cases. I have friends that have about 2-3 jobs. I have a friend that has a permanent job, 2 contract jobs. Now it's just one with HSBC, another one with Barclays, another one with with maybe KPMG or something. So, it depends on how you're able to manage, but you cannot start by you can't start by having 3 jobs in one day. So this field has a potential for flexible work structure in terms of, work from home, hybrid. Some people don't even like to fully work from home. To be honest, at some point, I didn't used to like full work from home, because I like all those maybe once in a week, after work drinks at work. That's me. But at some point later, I preferred full work from home. I prefer fully, and we totally understand. Everybody wants a balance, especially in this kind of country where there's a lot to be done. There are kids, nobody helps with kids, So everybody's looking for a fully remote role where possible. But one good thing I would tell you is that this field is part of the fields that, can give you that opportunity for flexible work structure, multiple contracts if you are eligible for it. Check whatever it is that you are eligible to do. If you're eligible to take multiple contracts, please go ahead and do so. And there are also lots of permanent roles as well in this field as well. So I believe I answered that question. So if there's any other person, okay, Olumide wants to speak, but after he speaks, if there's any other person that wants to speak, you can raise your hand and unmute yourself to speak. Let's even hear voices. We don't just want to read. Let's hear your voices as well. I've just been hearing Olumide speak. I want to hear someone else speak. So Olumide, please go ahead and contribute to that.
Yeah, so thank you. So regarding work from home, yeah, and the work-life balance, yeah, there's a lot of we have a lot of remote jobs. I've not been to the office in the last 3 years, and even before then, we had work from home before COVID. Also, we had 3 days in the office, 2 days at home, and then after some time, moved to 2 days in the office, 3 days at home. After some time, it was just 1 week in the office and all that. So there's a lot of work from home, and it's a target-driven environment, fast-paced, and once you can do your work in, like now, if you are very experienced, you are very good, you can finish your work in 5 hours, and there's a lot of overtime. Okay, so if you like money, you want to work, you want to do anything, you can get another job, or you can decide to do overtime where you are working. So far, both of them don't clash. But if you have one whereby you are going to work in the office every day, it's going to be difficult for you to do another job. So, there is that opportunity, hopefully, if you have a job that is fully remote, to do 1, 2, 3 jobs, depending on how fast you are and, how your family is and everything. Sometimes it's actually easier to come alone before you bring your family. So maybe you start earning a lot of money and then you can bring your family and all that. I don't know. I'm just, saying that some people, they struggle with, you bring 3, 4 kids at the same time. You want to do 2 or 3 jobs, I don't know. I'm not the best person to advise.
I think that's relative. In some situations, some people actually need to come with their spouses, because the spouse,
Yeah.
it depends on what they are coming in with. One person will be able to work full time, one person might not be able to. So leaving the person that can work full time outside while you are now juggling school and kids and all that might also not be. So I think in that area, let's leave that. That's why I say work-life balance. That's why I said work-life balance is relative, depending. But we've answered the question in terms of, work-life balance. I know, and I know some people that they're a family of I have a friend. Our family is a family of KYC. A family of KYC analysts. Both husband and wife, they share their jobs because they know so they take multiple contracts and they share the jobs between themselves. But that one is not a legal advice. It's not a it's not an advice or anything, but it's just that it's a possibility, just like any other role where you can take multiple contracts, but it depends on your personal circumstances, right? But work-life balance is actually in our hands. And the good thing about the UK is, if you get a job, you find out that the job is too much for you, or it's not giving you that work-life balance, putting it the way you put it. There's this security that we don't have in Nigeria that is here, such that you can decide to leave a job and then get another job, right? Unlike in Nigeria, that if you don't get a job, you won't leave a current job. I'm not saying leave your job before you get a current job here too, depending on the situation. But I know people here that go on career breaks, like they want to travel the world. They take 6 months, And the good thing is that there's no midlife. I don't know. There's this thing in Nigeria that there's a particular age that you get to, that if someone should lose a job at that age like this, it's very, very difficult to get another job. But one thing I found out since I got to this country is that people in their 50s transition to new fields and still get to thrive in the new field, which is fantastic. And so it's good that we are all at this other side. Let's just make very good use of the opportunities and the system that works here to our own advantage as well. So if you get a job that is too demanding for you, put yourself back in the job market. To be honest, if you have a very good brand, even recruiters will not leave you. There's one of my clients that gets a job and it stops there. Most of them, they continue to get recruiters on their neck. For instance, using myself as an example, I haven't updated my CV in over a year, and I can tell you that I get nothing less than 6 LinkedIn DMs and phone calls and mails on a daily basis. I haven't touched my brand, but just because from the beginning my brand was already optimized and I'm in a job, they will continue to come for you if you have the skills, if you have the right skills. And the sky is the limit. You can change a job in a week you can change jobs in a month depending on whatever it is that works for you. So the next question, is this recorded and available to us? Yes, it's recorded. It will be available in the next when we resume. When we resume, it will be available, and the mediums on it will be on our YouTube actually. So, and we would publicize that as well. So do we have any other question? I think we have a comment. I'm happy with, thank you so much for all this. Lumi, I think this is for you. Lumi, thank you so much for all the insights. I'm also thanking Lumi too. Olumide, thank you for the insights. Then Rookie, I'm happy with your coordination and package. I'm very happy to sign up soonest. Thank you very much for acknowledging for the compliment and feedback. It is well appreciated as well. Yes. So, do we have any other question? If you don't have any other question, let's also introduce work-life balance into this meeting as well. But do we have any other question? You can unmute yourself and ask questions if you do. If not, if you do, you can still raise your hand while I start to, appreciate our facilitator, Olumide. We really appreciate having you here, thank you for coming, and we look forward to, how you'll be sharing not only the practical and technical part of this with us, because, we also like the fact that you are someone who have worn our shoes, you're someone who, where it pains us. And that's why I always like and pick my, facilitators, right? So we're looking forward to the training session itself, and yeah, thanks a lot. So yes, like I said, everyone, this discount is still on. Some people are already dropping me messages on Instagram. Some people have already made payments. Don't miss this discounts, and if you want to talk about installments, if you want to talk about any arrangements regarding payments, availability and all that, you can send me a DM. I'm right there in my DM to respond to you. You can also send us an email on info@rkycareers.com. And do you have any, does anybody have a feedback? Please drop your feedback in the chat section. You can also unmute yourself to talk. Let's take feedback for another 5 minutes. And I think in the absence of any other discounts, like I said, questions about installments, please send it to me directly. If in the absence of any other question, or Olumide, did you have any rounding up message for us?
Well, I'll just say, from my own little story and where you guys are lucky. I'll say, well, if you can afford it, jump on it. It's a good deal for you. I can assure you, will give you more than 1,000,000% of what you've asked for. So be rest assured, you're in good hands. We've done it a lot of times. There are a lot of people in banking. Ask around. We've trained a lot of people. So if you can, jump into the program and let's get it going. Let's start your UK journey.
Okay, thank you, Lumide. Everyone, it was nice to meet you.